Have you ever witnessed something in the water that you couldn't describe? Could prehistoric beasts be making their home in Lake Champlain? Has new evidence proved there's something lurking in its watery depths? Today, we test the believability of Champ, the Lake Champlain Monster.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
Where we dive into the unknown and the unusual.
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
That is right. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of Believing the Bizarre.
Lakes.
Lakes and wet places.
That's what we like to think about here.
So this is being recorded a little out of order because we're prepping for a vacation.
Yeah.
We're not going together on vacation. Just at the same exact time. Unplanned. So there won't be any Patreon shoutouts, but for those of you that do want extra bonus content, go check us out on Patreon. For those of you who are already following us on Patreon, we love you.
Yeah, we do.
When we put out a little episode called the Megalodon, there were quite a few comments about like, hey, we like the water episodes. We want to hear about creatures in the water. So this isn't a normal, obviously. We actually talked about it. We realized we've done like 3 water creature things ever.
It's not a lot. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just not where we focus. Bermuda Triangle, but that's not really a creature.
No, yeah, we didn't count. Doesn't count. It's like Lake Michigan, But we have Champ. We're talking about our good friend Champ here.
Champ.
And sources. Oh my goodness. We got NYS Historic Newspapers, Vermont History at Home, Lake Champlain Region, Road Tripping, Motherboard, Unsolved Mysteries, Coast to Coast AM, NewEngland.com, KatyElizabeth.org, and Reddit.
Coast to Coast AM.
Yes.
Love
so
Coast to Coast.
Let's get into this episode. All right, so first things first, where is Lake Champlain?
I know.
By the way, I made sure to listen to some episodes because I didn't want to be out here for an hour saying Lake Champlain. Champlain. They really hit the
Champlain.
Yeah, because it's French, which we'll get to. But
Lake
it is
Champagne.
Lake Champlain. So before we get into Champy, let's talk about Lake Champlain. So it is 125 miles long. It's a freshwater lake that borders New York, Vermont, and then the tippity top of the lake borders Quebec, or as they say in France, Quebec.
Quebec. In France or Canada?
Well, if you're French speaking, it's Quebec. If you are French speaking in Canada, it is also Quebec.
Is that Q pronounced K?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of French speaking individuals in Canada.
Well, there's the French province.
Yeah.
And that's that one, I think. I had a friend that lived there, Montreal, actually.
Did they see Champ?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. At its deepest, Lake Champlain is 400 feet down compared to Loch Ness's 744.
Yeah, it's not that deep.
Yeah, and I think the largest, I don't have this written down, but I read it. I think, so it's like 125 miles long, and I think its widest is like 15 miles or so. So it's kind of skinny.
For Champ. For Champlain.
Champlain, not Champ. The Champlain, the lake itself is like 125 miles by like 15 miles.
Loch Ness isn't super wide. Like you could see the other side of it. Like when I was there, you could see the other side pretty easily.
But it's deeper.
It's so much deeper.
Like this one's like this, and then when you saw it's like that.
Yeah.
I do also want to say that I think the name Champ is funny. Like it's
Champ?
Yeah, it's like Loch Ness is like the big serious one, and they're like, you're still important, Champ.
Do you think, like, I guess we'll probably talk about it later, but I feel like, so Loch Ness has got Nessie. And Nessie is like a big elephant, this big monstrous beast.
It looks like an elephant.
Yeah. And Champ is almost, I think, is almost like a pygmy elephant. Like it's the same thing, but smaller.
So let's talk really quick about what this sea monster is. How do you feel about deep water, Charlie?
Not a big fan.
Do you like the idea of something creepy lurking underneath your footies?
No, it's like if I was like in a body of water and it was murky, I wouldn't be super happy about it.
So we're dealing with a potentially prehistoric beast deep in Lake Champlain. So what does it look like? Similar to our friend of the podcast, Nessie. It's a serpent-like creature with a very long neck.
I'm not over friend of the podcast.
Yeah, it's supposedly several tons, and it's been known to be up to 30 feet in length. That's where I was asking about Nessie, yeah. There's been between 250 and 300 reported sightings.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff, but it's kind of the typical, like, people think it's like dinosaur-like, serpent, long neck. Just imagine Loch Ness. It's, But yeah, you said it. I don't know if you said it here or you said it in the quiz, but snake-like it fits the bill as well.
I don't remember where I said it.
I think it was the quiz.
Okay. Snake-like. Yeah.
Which, by the way, there is a quiz attached to this episode.
Yeah.
So if you are on Patreon or you're thinking about joining, I quiz Charlie on this episode. See how we did over in Patreon.
Oh my God, what a plug.
All right, so we have, it's going to feel a little bit like the skunk ape. I'm going to be going year by year until now on sightings, reports. I almost said like reports. Like it's not reports. And we got video footage. So if you haven't yet checked us out on YouTube, like I would still recommend listening to the audio format of this episode.
Listen to its voice.
Well, we're going to be putting video in here in some audio stuff, so it'll be cool to check out. Also, if you don't want to do that, you can check our social media because we'll put it there as well. But that's the plan. So we're going to go through the years of this, and then we do have some additional encounters that didn't make like the years. It's not like Reddit. I'll say this. People on Reddit are like, oh, I think I saw it. Oh, one time I think I saw something bobbing.
Yeah, no, it's like, okay, I can't really put that in. But that's not really their goal in their writing. They're just trying to confirm.
They're not like, I'm not trying to aid a podcast here. I'm just letting you know what I saw in a fleeting moment.
Yeah, I don't want my name dropped on some show.
So we're going to go through it that way, and let's start at the tippity top, because you all know how much I care about chronological stories. So the lore, or the folklore, I guess I should say, of Champ is tied to Iroquois legends of giant snakes, serpents. The first reported sighting, or first reported European sighting, took place in 1609, and they claimed to see the lake monster, and the person who saw this monster was Samuel de Champlain, who is the founder, apparently, it says it's the founder of Quebec. I don't know if that's true or not.
I buy it.
But it's also the namesake of the lake. Lake Champlain, Samuel de Champlain. Allegedly, he witnessed a 20-foot serpent in the water that was as thick as a barrel and had a head that was similar to a horse.
A horse? It's kind of cool. Sounds a little bit like a water spirit to me.
In 1819, according to NYS historic newspapers, there was a report in the Plattsburgh Republican where Captain Crumb, not Victor Crumb.
It sounds like, can he do the Romsky feint?
No. He reported that he saw a strange serpentine monster in Lake Champlain. He described the monster as about 200 feet long and 200 yards, a.k.a. Charlie,
two football fields.
2 football fields away from him.
That's right. That's about... Jamar Gibbs could destroy that.
Jameer Gibbs?
Yeah.
He claimed to have witnessed it being followed by 2 large sturgeon and billfish and was able to see that it had 3 teeth and eyes the color of peeled onions, whatever the fuck that means.
Pale yellow white.
If it's 200 yards from you, I don't know if you can see its eyes.
I don't think you can either. Well, okay. He said it's 200 yards away. Yes.
200 feet long and 200 yards away from him.
200 feet long.
I wonder if that was a typo and it was 20 feet long. I'm not saying my typo. This is what it said.
Yeah. No, that doesn't track with everything else.
Yeah, 200 feet's a lot.
Yeah.
He also described the monster as having a belt of red around its neck and a white star on its forehead.
White's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He's fashionable.
Champ's like, I got extensions.
What is that? Is that Reebok? No, Starter. Starter has a star. He had one of those 80s starter jackets on in 1819.
You should have got sponsored by Nike instead. I know, swoosh.
No, that would be Loch Ness. Let's keep it real.
That's true, yeah.
Fucking Champ is Starter and Loch Ness it's Nike. Now, what would be Adidas then?
Oh.
I don't know why. I imagine immediately when you said Meg, I don't know why, but it went to New Balance. I'm sorry.
It's the Meg New Balance because it's old.
Yeah. 1881. This year, a huge skeleton was unearthed by H.H. Burge So basically, this is a report from a May 27th issue of the Middlebury Register. And it wrote, the proprietors of the Champlain Granite Works located near Barn Rock on Lake Champlain claim to have unearthed a petrified sea serpent of mammoth proportions, being about 8 inches in diameter and nearly 50 feet long. The surface of the stone bears evidence of the outer skin of a large serpent, while the inner surface shows the entrails. The proprietors are intending soon to begin excavations along the place where it lies embedded in the dirt and granite to ascertain its size. So that was 81. So the next year, in 1882, additional data surfaced. So this is from Elizabethtown Post-Gazette. On the carpet in the upper room lay 6 or 7 feet in length pieces of enormous petrified snake. Some portions were 6 inches long and some 15 or more. The pieces were placed together and fitted so nicely that there was no room for doubt of their having been broken apart. The largest end was 8 or 9 inches in diameter and only 3 or 4 feet from the terminal of the entrails and 2 or 3 feet beyond that. The entrails were petrified, but much darker and quite open, and containing many bright and glistening crystals. The vertebra was visible at each broken end, and the flesh part showed traces of what had at one time been veins. The remains are next mentioned in the Burlington Free Press on November 4th, 1886, and apparently were on show at a bank-sponsored exhibition held in Vermont. But this whole petrified snake thing was purchased by the famous showman P.T. Barnum.
Oh, son of a bitch.
For his museum. But from there, it seems to have vanished.
That piece of shit, I knew it was P.T. Barnum.
Searches for Barnum's records have been fruitless so far.
Oh, that bastard. He probably painted it or something. So, okay. So they don't have it because P.T. Barnum stole it and...
Well, he
didn't steal it, he bought it.
Yeah. He purchased it.
Yeah.
Just like Louisiana. He didn't purchase Louisiana. That's just what they call
it. Anyway, so he took it, but they said it was like, this is just a fossil?
Yeah, basically.
It doesn't prove that there's a current monster. It just proves
But it shows there could be.
There could be dinosaurs?
Maybe.
By that logic?
That's what they're thinking this might be.
By that logic, why isn't there a T-Rex? This doesn't track.
They're saying that something that looked like this at one point was there. So if people are seeing it, like it could be like while other dinosaurs went extinct, this one could still be there.
All right.
Are you saying you don't buy this?
It doesn't track for me yet.
Let's move to 1883. A sheriff named Nathan H. Mooney claimed to see Champ.
Is he a werewolf?
No.
His name is Mooney.
From where he stood on the shore. Mooney said he could see white spots inside the mouth of the creature, which was over 30 feet in length. Now, we're more realistic on the length here.
How close was he?
I don't know.
Does he fall in love with this creature about to give it a kiss? Like
white spots inside of his mouth? Or is this thing swimming like, I don't know.
Oh, Champ, I love you so much. And just...
How did he overlook the peeled onion eyes right into the white spots in the mouth?
I don't know.
So apparently having a sheriff come out and give credibility to the existence of Champ led other folks to feel comfortable coming forward with their sightings. So this was just like a pivot where it's like, oh, wow, if the sheriff's saying that he saw it, then we don't have to hide in the shadows.
I don't feel crazy for saying I saw it, but maybe they should a little bit.
Maybe. So I found a newspaper clipping from the Middlebury Register again, and I actually have a picture of it. So if I have it, I'll put it here. I assume I didn't lose it, but it's like a legitimate clipping from a newspaper.
Oh, I do have a question real quick.
Charlie.
Are people still saying horsehead at this point?
Not quite.
Okay.
Most people are going pretty solid serpent or dinosaurish here.
Too bad they lost a horsehead. I like that.
You like the Fey aspect of it.
I did, yeah.
So here's a quote from 1907, the Middlebury Register. Quote, a monster was seen in Lake Champlain opposite Charles L. Parrish's on Wednesday, November 24th, by Lewis Wilkinson's, the Port Franklin ferryman. Wilkinson states that the monster was 30 feet in length and made great speed in the water, throwing water in all directions. The monster has several times been seen opposite Port Henry. Sailors have been frightened at the sight of the monster following their vessels. As the creature appears to be able to exist partly out of the water, it may be a more dangerous prodigy than is generally supposed. Unquote.
Sailor's like, yar, what in the fuck is that?
It looks like a horse-headed sea serpent. I don't know why I almost said
Its
seal.
eyes are peeled onions.
I could go for some onions now, Captain.
Here's an orange, you fuck.
I'm going to eat a full bushel of peeled onions. I can help with that. That's Holes. That's a Holes reference from Dulé Hill. I hope everyone knows.
I can fix that.
What do you think about that sighting report from the newspaper?
It's kind of interesting. I don't know. I wonder why it's hanging out by Fort Henry. Probably because there's a fishing community and there's could be like a lot of like blood in the water, like fishing guts and fish. I don't know.
So our next jump is going to go to the 1970s. I do want to say, though, I don't have the exact year this was done. I looked it up. I think it was the 40s, but also, like, it's a road, and a road stretches a long way, so I don't want to get that wrong. But sometime in the 1900s, Route 2, but with New Hampshire, or with Vermont and New York, was built. And part of it kind of goes through Lake Champlain.
I can help with this. You know, the roadways were developed for military purposes.
Do you know the year that this happened? That'd be really helpful.
I want to say I think you're right, in the 40s. But it was developed to allow easier transport for military vehicles.
But what I'm getting at is once that was built and it went through the lake and people could be driving and looking at the lake, more sightings have come because you're driving for a long stretch and you're just looking at the lake.
You can drive over the lake?
Yeah.
Pass. Actually, you know what?
Well, I mean, like it splits it too. Like it's not necessarily. It's not like you're going from Vermont to New York necessarily like this.
Yeah.
Like there's sections where it goes up, like through. Like.
That's cool. Really islandy. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize it was so islandy. I thought it was just. So when I think of like Loch Ness,
a lot of bobbing and weaving.
So like Loch Ness is like super like, it's just a body of water. But yeah, that's a lot of islands there. Peninsulas and islands in there.
I always said, like when the guy's hair starts receding. And it just has that little strip in the front.
Widow's Peak.
I call it a peninsula. So on to the 70s. The next big sighting is what I would say one of the most popular photographs of Champ. And again, this is 1977. So at that time, Sandra Mansi took a photograph while on vacation with her family, and it appears to show Champ's head sticking out of the water. Yeah. Here's a quote from Unsolved Mysteries. Sandra Mansi grew up near Lake Champlain. When she was a child, her grandfather teased her with scary tales of the legendary sea creature. Here's a quote. Grandfather told us all about Champ, and when we would go fishing, he would say to us, if you don't sit down and behave in the boat, I'm going to throw you over, and Champ's going to gobble you up. And of course, we didn't believe a word of it. But then, in July of 1977, Sandra, her 2 children, and her fiancé Tony were on vacation near Lake Champlain. We stopped at this one place, and the children were down further on the beach, having a great time. And Tony decided to go back to the car and get the camera. And I'm looking out at the lake, and the lake started churning. My first thought was, okay, maybe it's just scuba divers. But then it was just too much. It was too big of a group of scuba divers. But then fish. There was some very large sturgeon and big walleyes in Lake Champlain, so I thought, well, maybe it's just a very large school of fish. Then the head and the neck came up out of the water, and then the back. And I watched it turn its head and neck and look around. When it first came up, its mouth was open, and I could see water coming from the mouth. And I'm feeling like I shouldn't be there. Because to me, this thing should have been extinct 30 million years ago. But I'm not frightened. I'm just in total awe and very calm. Then Tony came back, and he saw it, and he got panicky, screaming and hollering to the kids to get out of the water. He helped me up the bank, and when he did, he handed me the camera, and I turned around, and it was still there. So I picked up the camera, and I took one shot. So when Sandra saw the picture she took, she was quite certain that it was Champ. She was equally certain that no one would believe her, so she threw away the negative and kept the photo hidden. Finally, Sandra had the snapshot blown up to an 8 by 10 inch print. She contacted Joe Zarninski, who'd written a book about Champ, and Joe sent the print to the University of Arizona, which you can graduate anything you want online in 4 years or less, to be analyzed. Maybe they probably have a cryptozoologist degree there.
Yeah.
So cryptozoologist Richard Greenwell said this: We digitized it and ran all sorts of computer enhancement techniques. We were looking for pulleys or ropes or anything like that, but we found no evidence of hoaxing, and we concluded that the object, whatever it is, was there in the lake at that estimated distance. It wasn't any sort of superimposition, so it wasn't superimposed.
Okay.
When the photograph was released, it caused a media sensation, and the New York Times and Life magazine carried the story.
Okay, I will say, I do think there is an object at that point. But could it just be a stick?
Someone suggested in a forum I was looking in that it looked like somebody swimming, and it's like their hands like this, like they're doing like the strokes. Not the band, but yeah.
I see that angle. I see that as well. Like the curve of the hip, and then
it's the arm. It's like
the arm coming up, and then behind it's the curve of the hip.
Yeah.
Yep, could see that, but also could just be a log with a weird root.
Maybe.
But she said she saw this thing come up and move around. But how old was she when she was older? When
she had kids. She had children. She had the childs. I don't know. I mean, either like we don't know. We don't know.
Okay, so like nature photographers go out and they wait for days, sometimes even weeks, for like the perfect shot. Right? They wait forever for this rare animal to come do this one thing, and it happens in front of them. How come we don't have that with this?
Well, there are 250 to 300 reported sightings.
Yeah.
And she also wasn't trying to capture it.
No, I know that's not. I'm not discrediting her photo. I'm just asking why there isn't like a professional who's like not necessarily trained, but like able to get these kind of photos doing that with this thing. You know what I mean?
Well, we have two top dogs that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. Dennis Hall and Katy Elizabeth, and they claim to have caught a video. I mean, it is a video. I'll let you.
It's not.
I'll let you decide that.
It's just of this guy.
I don't know. I mean, there's two theories. Either it's really, really rare or it doesn't exist, right?
Or it's magical.
Oh, okay. So 1983, on June 15th, 1983, several witnesses saw a 30 to 40 foot creature with 4 humps. Count them. 1, 3, 4.
My humps, my lovely champ lumps.
In Lake Champlain off the site of Fort Cassin, or Cason. However, as one admitted to the Lake Champlain phenomena investigation, quote, it could have been a large creature or 4 smaller ones, a concession that takes on new significance when we learn that this site was the mouth of the Otter Creek. And we're going to be talking about otters in a little bit.
I've heard of this part. I know this part, which makes me upset because of earlier.
That's it. Is there more you know?
I've seen the photos of the humps.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
1984, July 30th, 1984, the largest mass champ sighting in history occurred aboard a sightseeing boat called the Spirit of Ethan Allen. Pour some for Ethan Allen, because based on that boat name, I don't think he's around anymore. Near Apple Tree Point, the approximate time was 6 o'clock in the evening. Between 70 and 86 passengers, they all saw this creature for about 3 minutes. 3 to 5 humps surfaced, and each one about 12 inches out of the water. They estimate that the creature was about 30 feet long,
okay,
and it was described as greenish-brown and slimy looking like a frog. It swam parallel with the boat for 1,000 yards until a speedboat approached, fucked everything up, and the creature turned 90 degrees and submerged.
Wow. I would touch it. I would want to touch it so bad.
Come on, I want to touch you, champ.
Ooh.
I think it's just okay, for all the people that played sports. Sorry, Charlie. Now, I know you played football.
I did, yeah.
But it's like that condescending, hey, champ. And going back to the name, I don't like the name. It's like, I don't know, like bud, buddy, champ.
The chief.
I don't know.
I feel like those names really got to you.
So I'll say this now. So in the 80s, it got so popular that it became a safe haven for champ. What I mean by that is that they started enacting laws to protect champ so you couldn't like hurt it or hunt it or anything. So in 1981, Port Henry, New York declares their waters a safe haven for champ. 1982, the state of Vermont passes a House resolution protecting champ. In 1983 in New York, both the state assembly and the state senate passed resolutions protecting Champ.
See, if I was in charge, I would pass a law stating that if you see this fish, you claim this fish and you prove it. You throw dynamite in that water, you get this fish.
You can only see Champ after you've had 14 cups of coffee. All right, we're moving to 1985, and we are introducing Dennis Hall. He's going to be a player for the remainder of this episode for the most part.
Watch out, ladies.
So Dennis Hall, a carpenter, says that he's looked for the famed creature ever since he was just 10 years old. He said he was getting in a boat with his daughter, his son, and father-in-law when his daughter spotted a creature on June 30th, 1985. The creature was about a mile away when it was first seen. They were near the Basin Harbor Club when the creature surfaced, and he didn't even know he was filming the animal until the reality of it set in. Here's a quote. "My daughter yelled, 'Dad, there's something out there.' I have a film of it for maybe 20 seconds. I can't prove it's Champ, but you can see it raise its neck and then lower it back in the water." And Hall said the creature was about 30 feet long, but the neck was really thick. He spent his whole life on or around the lake, and this is one of the first times he's ever seen it. So unfortunately, I don't have this video that he's going to discuss next, but I do have a video that he has later.
Okay.
But Hall was sitting in a canoe when he filmed the creature, so he says parts of the video were jumbled. Though not strikingly clear, as they never are, the video shows an object protruding from the lake and moving across the surface. And Hall was so convinced that he captured Champ on film that he had the film copyrighted.
Oh, wow.
So apparently it shows the object in two sections, like the humps. And at the end of the tape, it appears to dive into the water with a large splash. According to Hall, he chased after it in a motorboat, but when he arrived around the bend where he saw the creature disappear, there was nothing there. He said there was no boats, the water was calm, and there was nothing out there.
Because he went in a motorboat.
Yeah, which is... He probably saw it because he was in a canoe. It was quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Scared it away. Scared away the creature. It probably is just really ultra sensitive to those things.
It's just like when you're running the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I don't like this. Like
Apollo hates it. He will, if he had the choice, he would kill that thing.
No animals like vacuum. It's just like probably loud times 100. So let's move to 2005. So Champ reportedly can be seen in a video taken by fisherman Dick Opfalter and his stepson Pete Baudet in the summer of 2005. Close examination of the images may be interpreted either as a head and neck of a plesiosaur-like animal, and even an open mouth in one frame and closed mouth in another, or as a fish or an eel. And he gave the video to two retired FBI forensic image analysts who reviewed the tape and said it appears authentic and unmanipulated. One of them added that there's no place in there that I can actually see an animal or any other object on the surface. So.
Oh, okay. That's not resounding good.
So do you want to see that one?
Yeah, definitely.
The video was originally in color, but they like stabilized it, and this is what it turned into.
So it was in color?
Yeah, like it's 2005. This isn't like 55.
Okay.
But when they like stabilized it, the color got removed. I don't know how that works.
Ask them to put it back in. It looks like a fish to me. Looks like a fish. I'm not sure how long it is. There's no context of how big it could be.
Yeah, it's weird that the guy would say that. There was no way they could discern an animal or an object on the surface because to me, very clearly there's something there.
Yeah, it's something.
I'm not saying it's Champ. There's something.
Definitely. Even just a large sturgeon.
All right, so moving to 2014, we have an audio recording. So audio recording, this is from Coast to Coast AM. While out on Lake Champlain with her equipment-laden research vessel, the Kelpie 2, cryptozoologist Katy Elizabeth deployed a hydrophone that caught curious clicks unfolding rapidly and a puzzling, buzzing noise between them. The series of sounds bear an uncanny resemblance, although completely unique in comparison to echolocation exhibited by dolphins or whales.
Beluga whales.
Yeah. Since it's rather unlikely that such creatures are swimming around Lake Champlain, Elizabeth believes that the monster may have evolved to possess echolocation over centuries of living in a sizable body of water that serves as a border for New York and Vermont. Katy makes the case for the sounds being biological sonar by providing eerily similar calls from other animals. I don't have those. We just got the shortened clip. Elizabeth argues that the peculiar clicks and buzzing sounds that you're going to hear could not have come from fish known to live in Lake Champlain, nor any human activity such as boats, because recordings from those explanations bear little to no resemblance to what was captured last month at this time. And just a reminder, or maybe not a reminder, maybe just telling you a little bit about echolocation. Echolocation is a technique that uses sound waves to determine the location of objects. It's used by many animals, including bats, dolphins, and some birds. All right, so I'm going to turn the volume down a little because I like you guys. And we're going to listen a little bit to this sound that they're thinking is potentially champ. So it's not the clicking and it's not the static. It's like the in-between buzzing and frequencies that you'll hear. Okay, it's 14 seconds. So if it hurts your ears, just skip ahead. You guys know what to do. I played it twice, so it was longer, but...
Played it twice?
I played twice. That was like 28 seconds. What do you think?
Definitely sound like water.
Well, yeah, it's underwater.
Yeah, no.
We're not trained to detect.
No, I don't know. I to me, it sounded like a pleasant... It sounded like going to sleep to me, because that's something I'd play to go to sleep, like underwater noises.
Soundscape, like sleep, slumber.
Yeah. But what, Katie heard, actually. She heard... the monster, the creatures saying, I'm swimming here.
Hey,
I'm swimming here.
I'm trying to get to Vermont. Move over. Get out of here, you sturgeons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what she heard.
All right, guys. We're 2 movies in. We have the first movie, which has Dennis. And then we have the sequel, which has Katie.
Yes. So
you can only know what Hollywood's doing here. The third movie, they're like, we got to get Dennis and we got to get Katie. Together. So Dennis and Katie in 2014 captured a video.
It's like Sleepless in Seattle.
On August 9th, 2014, at approximately 1:34 p.m. at Button Bay, Katie and Dennis captured something. They captured something.
Okay, they got something.
They sent the video to security expert William Dragonis. As an analyst who specialized in decoding blurry images, William calculated the size of the object using a passing bird as a clue. Here's a quote from him, and then I'll show you the video.
Okay.
What I'm observing in this footage seems to be some type of moving object that's moving along the surface of the water from left to right and seems to be about 15 to 20 feet long. It makes me wonder if what we're seeing on the surface is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. There could be more to the creature's body below the water. And they're like, we definitely hope so.
Kitty's like, God damn it.
Should I just leave the audio on?
Sure.
If you want to cut it. But I'll show you. It's just kind of funny.
I got it. Oh my God. It's Champ.
I know, I see it.
We got it on tape.
Yay!
It's Champ.
Oh, yep, he's doing the crawl.
What do you think, Champ? What do you think, Chief?
How fucking delusional are they? That's insane.
Yeah, I know. I saw that video and I'm like, man, I give them a lot of credit in this episode.
They're like, that is it. That is the most champiest champ I've ever champed.
Now, to be fair, it's not a lot. But
No.
I've seen I'll say this in their defense. I've seen a beautiful, beautiful moon. And I've taken my phone out and took a picture and it looks like, I'm underwater looking at a flashlight that fell to the bottom of the ocean. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. If you're spending your life devoted to finding this thing, if you see what you think is champ, I want you to run into the water with the video camera.
Well, I mean, I'd hope they could get more than that. And they were so sure.
Oh, so they were dead.
That's him. That's Champ.
It's him. He's doing his crawl.
And they're just like, yeah, we've seen him before. Like, oh, yep, we got him.
That's I don't think that, I'm just going to say, I don't think that was him. I don't think that was him.
So moving on to 2019, sticking with our homegirl, Katy Elizabeth. This is a sonar. She caught sonar. And this is from her website, katyelizabeth.org.
Cool.
Quote, on August 5th, 2019, my organization, Champ Search, aboard our research vessel, Kelpie, ventured out on an expedition covering 30 miles of Lake Champlain on both the New York and Vermont sides of Lake Champlain, scanning with our Dragonfly Pro 4 chirp sonar system. But, let me break really quick. We joke, we have fun, we tease. I give them credit. They're actually out there doing it.
They are doing
Like,
it.
we are sitting here in Ohio laughing about this, but they are actually buying equipment, doing self-research, finding friends to send, stuff to. I mean, I feel like we have people now that
I feel like a piece of shit.
No, it's our job to joke about it.
No, I'm just kidding. You're right. Or armchair quarterbacking a little bit.
It's like when you freeze the frame, you're like, why didn't he throw it? And you don't realize like a second later he got sacked. And, but to us,
by a man who's like 6'10".
Chubb was wide open in the flat. Anyway, back to the quote. During this time, the gas gauge on the boat plummeted down with great significance, and we decided to turn around to head back to port. During this time, I was traveling around 45 miles per hour and noticed two unusual anomalies on the sandy bottom of the lake at approximately 165 feet. We were urgent to get back to avoid running out of gas, and I couldn't see the images clearly on the screen due to the sun glare, but I snapped a screenshot on the sonar as they looked very different from the other 56 images we've previously seen that day. The next morning, I decided to go over each of the sonar images and came back across that particular and peculiar screenshot and enlarged it. To my amazement, I was in complete shock as all of the eyewitness descriptions, particularly the on-land sightings of the whole body of Champ, flooded to my head, as well as the head and neck sighting that I experienced on the evening of July 24th, 2014. The animal appears to be hunkered down on the sandy bottom. My idea is that they both heard the sonar and because we were traveling at a fast speed, dove to the bottom. Since these animals have echolocation capabilities, it leads me to believe they have very sensitive hearing range.
That tracks.
And again, we're not skilled at deciphering.
Although, I mean, yeah, I kind of see it. It looks like worms. There's like two? Yeah, there's two of these things, like ribbon fish. I mean, these kinds of creatures exist in nature already, so like why not just blow it up a little bit? I see that one.
You find this more credible than her video?
Yes. That is more credible. But also, could it be logs?
I don't know. Do logs show up in sonar like that?
I don't know. I think so. I don't know, though.
All right, so I got one final sighting for you. And this one was a mistake. This is 2024 drone footage. Like, this was a shot, and then somebody was like, wait, what's that? And they look in the shot.
Oh, you said mistake. I was like, oh, no, someone died.
No. I mean, okay, so during post-production of the film Lucy and the Lake Monster, not a sponsor, the filmmakers reviewed their drone footage from production on August 2nd, 2024, so like 6 months ago, and noticed what appeared to be a large creature swimming just below the surface of the water. The alleged creature is visible in the bottom right portion of the screen, swimming behind a boat on which the two lead actors of the film were aboard. The boat was 142 inches from the tip of the bow to the stern and 50 inches at the widest point, and the alleged creature appears to be larger than the boat. And shout out Mystery Junkie, because that's where I found this video.
Oh, that's the boat. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, I see it, yeah.
I think it's...
You didn't have to point it to me. I saw it. Huh. That's pretty good.
Not bad, right?
That might be the best one.
I mean, there's something there, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if that is just a fish. That's interesting. That might be the best piece of evidence we saw.
And it was mistaken drone footage. You know why? Because it was shot by a drone, which is a camera from this century.
Yeah.
Probably 4K.
Katie's like, what the fuck?
That must have been my drone. Okay, so those are the sightings of Champ. Let's get into some explanations on what this thing could be. All right, so I have 4 potential theories as to what this could be. The first is what our good friend Katy Elizabeth thinks. She thinks that Champ is a tanystropheus, which is a dinosaur that lived 232 million years ago. This is a quote from her to Motherboard. Quote, "We don't know if these reptiles could echolocate. It's one of those things that no one really knows for sure, but something in the lake is echolocating." And she added that other creatures have been discovered that were thought to be extinct, and given the depths of the lake, this could also be the case with Champ. So she thinks that it could be this tanystropheus.
Tanystropheus. We're like, Tammy, more fish because it's a fish.
Yeah, so this isn't saying it's not real, by the way. This is just saying what it actually could be.
Mm-hmm. She thinks it's this dinosaur.
Yeah, obviously she thinks it's real. Another option is that it's a plesiosaur, which goes back to the Nessie argument. Mm-hmm. So plesiosaurs were thought to live exclusively in the oceans, but apparently on July 28th, 2022, an international team of researchers announced their finding of plesiosaur fossils in the beds of ancient freshwater rivers in what is now Morocco. Which obviously Morocco and Vermont, not quite the same. One likes couscous, the other one likes lobster rolls.
That's right.
But in maple,
Maple,
honey,
maple.
maple
syrup.
syrup. That's the word.
I like couscous.
So basically, they're just saying, and obviously plesiosaur was a possibility for Loch Ness, which is in Scotland. But it's this idea that it doesn't have to be the ocean. Plesiosaurs could have been in fresh water as well.
Yeah, like a bull shark.
They go in both. I've heard.
I've heard that fact.
All right, third one, not as fun. They're just sturgeon. Sturgeon are the largest freshwater fish. They can grow over 20 feet long. I've heard up to 27 feet, which is almost exactly, and it's alive. So it's like if you see a video of something and someone's like, it's just a log, and you're like, clearly it's moving.
Yeah.
It could be a sturgeon.
Yeah, I mean they're not as like wiggly. Like their necks aren't as wiggly.
Yeah, they're thicker.
Yeah.
Here I found a comment from somebody on Reddit. They said, "I saw Champ back in the 70s, and now that I think about it, there's no question that it was a sturgeon. The lake was full of them for hundreds of years, and in the very rare occurrences where they broke the surface, people totally thought it was a dinosaur."
All right. Sounds like a fun guy at parties.
Another theory is seiche, which, if you don't know what a seiche is, here's a quote from webarchive.csicop.org. Quote, local fisherman Tom Forrest told an illuminating story. In 1998, he was with a group of people who thought they saw Champ, and some were very frightened. In time, however, it turned out to be a partially waterlogged tree trunk, bobbing and propelled by the current. It was nearly 40 feet long with a root that resembled a monster's head. And just for clarification, a seiche is a great underwater wave that sloshes back and forth, even though the lake's surface might appear smooth. So the surface is smooth and calm. The bottom, there's this wave, and that pushes debris up. So whether there's logs or sticks or whatever, and it can push them up and make them bob on the surface and make it look like on a still lake something is emerging.
Doesn't seiche sound just like a Eastern European name? Hello, I am Seiche. Welcome to my land.
I brought my attaché case and my seiche.
I'm also Seiche, so it's two Seiches.
And my favorite color? Seiche. So this one we alluded to. I know you guys have been on pins and needles waiting for this possible explanation. Goddamn otters. This is also from csicop.org. Kopp, Kopp, a senior wildlife technician with New York's Department of Environmental Conservation, mentioned a personal encounter when he was on the lake. It was dark when suddenly heading toward him was a huge snake-like creature. However, as it came closer, he realized that the serpent was actually 6 or 7 otters swimming single file and diving and resurfacing to create the serpentine effect. After seeing this, he could now understand how so many people think a sea serpent is really a bunch of otters.
So cute, though. So cute. You know, otters, when they sleep, they hold hands.
I know. There's a otter at the Akron Zoo. Not like a real otter. There's like a statue of an otter. Oh, yeah. And he's got that he's got his other hand on his hip. He's just like, hey guys, you coming to the zoo today?
I love otters.
Yeah,
I do. There's like 5 or 6 at the Cleveland Metro Park. I love them.
So those are the explanations. Before we get to the discussion, which isn't even next, but before we get to the discussion, are there any of those that stand out to you?
Definitely the seiche stands out. It sounds reasonable. Sturgeon for sure. The only thing about the sturgeon is like when you see like things pop out, it's like a neck. It's like how you. But like the video where Katy and Dennis were like, wow, look at him, look at our boy.
He's growing up so big.
That definitely is a sturgeon. Like in my mind, that's a sturgeon. So I think those are my favorite right now.
All right, so let's get to some encounters. All right, so I have essentially two. There's more than two, but it's two sources. One is Reddit, because we couldn't finish an episode without a Reddit encounter.
Shouldn't do it, really. Shouldn't be done.
So another source called Road Trippers Magazine, it was like interweaving a bunch of stories and like from like 4 different people.
I think I've used Road Trippers before.
So what I did was I summarized their experiences separately to make more of a cohesive flow.
I see what you did.
So here are the 4 sightings that were listed in this article, this Road Trippers magazine. So Sue Lackey. In the summer of 1981, Sue and her husband Steve were boating near the New York shoreline north of Balwaga Bay. I'm probably saying that wrong, but I like Balwaga.
Balwaga Bay.
Maybe it's Balwaga.
Probably
Balwaga Way.
Yeah.
On a perfectly calm day, something unexpectedly emerged from the water. Sue described seeing a rounded, hump-like shape that came up and down in the water, followed by 2 more similar shapes. When she exclaimed, "That's Champ," her skeptical husband suggested they head home.
Let's go.
He said, "Nope. That's just a sage, honey."
That's Champ. We should leave.
The renters at Rick Lauren's cabin. In 2004, a family renting Rick Lauren's lakefront camp in New York claimed to have witnessed a 3-humped creature snag a seagull on a very calm day. The sighting was notable enough to make the local newspaper. What do you think would snag a seagull? I don't think a sturgeon would do that.
I don't know.
I don't think a log getting pushed up from the water, but the bottom of the water would take a seagull either. Oh, an otter?
Yes.
Otters?
Yes, sturgeon may eat seagulls.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, it could be a surgeon.
Betty.
Not a surgeon. Not a surgeon. It's not a very well paid man in the water with a scalpel. Could be, I guess.
To live in New York, you kind of got it. You know what I mean, though?
He's like, the run here.
Even the fish in the water got to have at least a bachelor's degree.
That's right.
Betty sighting. In the early 1980s, Rick Lauren's Aunt Betty was looking out her window toward Lake Champlain before work when she spotted what initially appeared to be a tree trunk or just junk in the water. As she watched, the large shape silently disappeared below the surface without leaving any ripples. When she ran outside to investigate, the shape had completely vanished.
Bye.
So finally, Norman's sighting. Rick Lauren's cousin Norman, a lifelong resident of the area, claims to have spotted Champ on 2 separate occasions in the early 1980s. While he firmly believes there's something there, he acknowledges uncertainty about exactly what he saw.
Okay.
Thanks, Norman. All right, so our Reddit encounter. This is from Wind Waker, and this is
Zelda.
2024, so this is recent.
Okay.
He did an edit, so he must have, I didn't go through the comments, but people must have been on him.
Plain.
Yeah, so his first edit is, so yeah, I have a degree in physics, math minor from an accredited private American university. I'm not some Looney Tune, and this happened a few months ago.
You could be a Looney Tune and have a degree. It's
Yeah,
all
I know.
saying.
That doesn't dissolve you of the, you know.
We both have 4 degrees between us.
Oh my God. So much money.
Yes, I know. It wasn't about the money. I'm just saying you can be a Looney Tune.
Mine are in, my 2 degrees are in a combined like $12 of frames. Like I think my master's degree is in an $8 frame, and I think my bachelor's in a $4 frame.
Yeah. I don't know what mine are in.
Do you have them in frames?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes, I do. I don't know where they are right now, but
So here is Wind Waker's encounter. Quote, myself, my dad, and my uncle were motoring on my dad's 20-foot craft. Time of day was roughly 2 to 3 p.m. I was standing in the center up front manning the wheel, and my dad was standing up front to my right and my uncle seated in the back. My dad piloted the vehicle out of the dock area and then handed me the reins to give me a session of driving time, and then he started chatting with my uncle. I was driving the boat in the deeper waters with only my eyes on whatever was ahead of us for no more than a minute or so. And with me not wanting to wreck my dad's boat, I was in quite the vigilant state and totally sober. Then, dead center, some 200 yards ahead, my eyes caught what at first glance seemed to be some kind of formation of smooth black rocks like a reef. The rocks were broad and sticking at least a good foot above the surface. There was white water commotion forming around them with an area of action 7 to 9 feet in diameter and a slow, apparent bobbing motion. So the first glance guess is that waves must be lapping up on the rocks, and it's just a trick of the eye that causes the apparent motion of these rocks seemingly bobbing in and out of the surface. I looked a moment longer, and I realized that there weren't any waves lapping up on the black objects because of how still the surrounding water was. There were no waves. This phenomenon struck me as no trick of the eye at all, but I understood that there's room for some rational explanation. So I said, "Hey, I think there's a sea monster dead ahead," with a half-joking tone in my voice, but still wanting to bring attention to this. Only my dad heard me, and he checked it out. He turned his head away from the conversation to glance where I was looking, and then he had a shift in his demeanor. He took maybe 4 to 5 seconds of peering intently before telling me, "Get out your phone." "I don't have my phone," I replied, neither of us taking our eyes off the scene 12 o'clock ahead. And funnily enough, even after I've been looking at this thing for a good 7 to 8 seconds at this point, the thought of taking up a phone for a picture hadn't even occurred to me. I was so gobsmacked by whatever was unfolding before me, I wouldn't dream of tearing my eyes away even for a single moment. This is what I saw as we approached closer. There was commotion with the white water spanning 7 to 9 feet. Amidst the commotion were 2 prominent masses. The masses were smooth black featureless humps, 2 to 3 feet in size and a few feet apart, stuck out of the water for a good 1.5 feet. In the stir of the white water for about 3 cycles, there were these humps rising in and out of the surface. The phenomenon was exactly reminiscent of a whale breaching in a way that it slowly rose to the surface and settled back down, which both myself and my father have both witnessed firsthand on a whale watching boat in Newfoundland. And I gathered a sense of coordination from these black masses, like they were coupled in some way, but I couldn't say for sure if they were. There were no boats in the vicinity at all. There were no wakes, no swimmers, no buoys, nothing. My uncle's seat in the back couldn't see anything, and he couldn't hear my dad and I talking up front, so he missed all of it. By the time my dad and I had exchanged our words, the commotion was rapidly waning and ultimately vanished as we kept our course charging straight ahead. My dad had totaled maybe 5 to 6 seconds of eyeball time on it, and myself probably 9 to 10. Neither of us bothered to reach down and search for my dad's phone, which actually was with us somewhere in the front. There just wasn't any time for it. We caught my uncle, who's a boat expert, up to speed on the situation, getting his take on the whole thing, and I stopped the boat about where my dad and I sighted the disturbance. We sat on the water for 2 to 3 minutes, scanning the area, looking for anything to surface again, but it was gone. Unquote.
It was detailed, that's for sure.
Yeah, some of these Reddit stories are like precise.
Yeah.
Precise. So that is our episode, and the notes and the stories and the historical encounters and the explanations of Champ, the Champlain Lake Monster. Let's talk about it in the discussion. All right, Charlie, is there a particular sighting that you'd like to discuss? Well, let's not do the explanations quite yet. Let's go over like any story that jumps out at you that we covered. Yeah, the sonar, the videos, the image.
I mean, there's a lot of stories. I guess the ones that pop out are the ones that are video recorded, or the ones where they're like on boats that don't have motors, and then it's clearly scared away by motors.
Well, okay, let me integrate the explanations. Are there any that we won't count the plesiosaur or the other dinosaur one we talked about, because those are representative of it existing and being a real thing currently.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not saying it could have been, but they don't exist. Like, if you believe it's plesiosaur, you think it's living now, it's a plesiosaur. If you think it's the tanystropheus or tropheus,
Tiramisu.
that's Italian right there. The tanystropheus. So the tanystropheus or the plesiosaur, then your team, it is here, it exists.
Yeah.
So outside of those two.
Yeah.
Because really that's pulling teeth for us
Right.
who aren't experts. Like, I think it's the plesiosaur.
Some kind of
because
dinosaur.
it's more brownish green than greenish brown. You know, we can't speak to that. So we're looking at like the sturgeon, the otters, the seiche. Are there any encounters or stories or videos or sightings that you think transcend what could be explained by those?
Okay, so it's really hard because we don't really understand the echolocation. Like when we heard the audio, I got nothing from it.
Yeah, and they can't say for sure that it's Champ, but they're saying it's something, and it doesn't seem like a normal fish that would be in the sea.
So I guess it would be that.
Just because we can't speak to it?
Right.
Because who are we to say, no, it's not proof?
Right. I don't know. If it's weird, it's weird. I couldn't tell you that. I didn't hear anything besides just water and clicks.
That's how I feel about the sonar too. Like I just can't quite read it. Like we don't have a trained eye or ear in that stuff.
Right. No.
So we're leaning completely on expert opinions.
Mm-hmm. That's hard just because Yes is my point right now.
So outside of the ones that we can't speak to, are there any of the stories, the images, or the video that you think couldn't be explained as a sturgeon or otters or the seiche or?
No, I think they're all pretty easily explained by those things.
What about Sandra's photo where I said somebody claimed that it could have been a swimmer? I wouldn't say that's a sturgeon.
No, I think it's a log.
So you think that's a log, so it would be the seiche.
Yeah, I think that's a seiche. I think that looks like a log to me. You know what, though? There is one. It was pretty quick where the lady was looking out the window and she saw something and then just sank away.
Yeah, I feel like that could be the seiche, too. They pushed it up and then they took it back down.
Would it take it back down?
Eventually, if it's heavy enough.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Because Sandra said that the photo of it with the arm, she said it went up and it looked all around.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so it's if she's, I don't want to make it like she's lying or she's telling the truth. If she remembers correctly,
yeah,
and it got up and it was looking around in all the different directions, and then she took a photo. I mean, that couldn't really be a log, right?
No, it couldn't. I don't know what photo she was taking on. She had a Polaroid.
But that happened before the photo.
Right. Okay.
She saw it stick its head up and look all around, and then she told her husband to get the camera. And he panicked. They got the kids, and then she took the photo.
It's hard for me to believe. That's all, because that seems okay. If that's true, that's the most nail in the coffin proof of this thing. We just don't have that visual ourselves, and that's the most heartbreaking part about it. Because if we had the video or even just the pictures of it, like one way, another way, and another way,
yeah,
that's hard evidence.
And we kind of agree that the drone footage is probably a sturgeon.
Yes, absolutely. Pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff we just can't speak to. That's as with most episodes.
We didn't speak about the Fae at all. I'm just saying that.
You did just now and then earlier when we said it was a horse head. Sonar and the audio we can't really speak to. So if you guys are pros and you know that stuff, let us know in the comments wherever you're listening or watching this. Your thoughts. I don't think it's otters. I could see why.
I could see otters making some sightings.
Yeah, like out of 300, maybe like 5.
Yeah, no. Okay.
I think sturgeon and the sage are the big.
Okay, what about like the ones that are like you see humps? What about those? Honestly, it could be just a log and like water going up and down.
I don't know. I'm not going unbelievable because something could be out there. I don't know if we're so advanced and it's so exposed and it's not that deep. You know what I mean? Like it's 400 feet. It's not like it's
not that deep.
Miles and miles and miles.
Right.
It's not mile deep, I mean, forget going in a submarine to go to the Titanic. We should have 45 submarines at all time in Lake Champlain. Let's find this thing.
I guess who funds that? That's where that.
I don't know.
God damn, Elon Musk, get on there. Or Jeffrey Bezos.
Yeah, I mean, they have so much.
You can order a submarine on Amazon.
Really?
I didn't think you can, yeah.
We should get delivered to Lake Champlain. It gets delivered to my house. I'm like, shit. I could see one of them being zany enough in like 20 years to be like, I'm going to be the one to find Champ.
Whatever they're smoking.
So on our believability scale of believable to viable to skeptical to unbelievable, I'm not going unbelievable. Okay. This plesiosaur thing could be out there in the 400-foot depths of Lake Champlain, dodging around the islands, looking at Route 2, giving people a peace sign, putting his head up and looking around. Or it could be a bunch of sturgeons. But I'm going to go skeptical. I'm going to go skeptical.
I wish I remember what I went for Loch Ness. Because I remember feeling very passionate about that.
I don't think you went unbelievable because you love it. You might have went viable because you loved it so much.
I know. I might have been a little biased. But I'm going, oh, God. I don't believe anybody in this scenario. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the night.
You're just tired.
I'm just like, this is all bullshit. I'm going unbelievable, man.
So that is our episode on Champ, the Lake Champlain Monster, which Charlie does not believe in. He doesn't think you're real, Champ. It's but you know what? When people say Champ in sports, they don't believe in you either. It's so condescending.
That's true.
Oh, nice try, Champ.
Dude,
Nice try, buddy.
just the evidence is just not there for me tonight.
If it had like 350 sightings, I think Charlie'd be down, but it's just not quite there yet.
If there are more sightings about it, like doing its monster thing, maybe I'd be more into it.
I think we got to get Katie or Dennis on the podcast, get them talking about Champ.
Well, if you're kidding me, that'd be kind of cool.
No, I'm not kidding. It'd be dope.
That's cool.
And if you like the episode, or the podcast for that matter, you go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review with a one-time thought comment that you'd like to live forever. But if you're listening on Spotify, you can comment on any and every single episode. As we mentioned at the top, we're recording this a little funky, a little out of sync because we have upcoming vacations. So we can't give you comments from the last episode because it hasn't even dropped yet.
Yeah, this is before. We recorded this in like 2 days cycle. Like, yeah, record on Saturday, Sunday.
What do you anticipate a comment might be?
What was it even about?
Planes.
Oh, the airplanes. Oh, shit.
We just had another one, which is true, actually.
true.
I sent you a link yesterday.
Yeah. Could be
Keep politics out of these goddamn good
could be
stories.
something like that. Or it could be something like, I don't know. No one died in the planes. I don't know. Something crazy like that.
No one died. There's no real planes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Planes aren't real.
Could be some Nutter Butters. I don't know.
But if you want to leave your comments, please feel free to do so. We will look at them. We will respond to them. We will read them on the podcast should they make the cut. Not that if they don't get read, they're not good. We pick a handful.
Yeah.
Pick 3.
I pick them randomly. And if you are enjoying the show and you want to talk to some people that have some like-minded ideas, we've got our Discord that is a lot of fun. There's a lot of people in there that talk about many, many things. A lot of pets. Also bizarre things. And there's also our Patreon if you want to hear more content. Besides just our main episodes, we've got stuff going on in the background, some quizzes, some games, other games, interviews with people who have submitted their stories, mini episodes.
Every Wednesday and Friday. Every Wednesday and Friday, we're dropping something new or doing something live on Patreon.
That's true.
So thank you guys so much for listening and or watching this episode on Champ, Little Champy. We appreciate you. As always, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre.
A podcast as bizarre as you are.